I woke up screaming, cut the world. Yeah. What's up, everybody? It's Robbie with Cut the World Lawn Care here. And, man, it's been a little bit. It's been about a week or so? Well, within that time frame, I've been running. I've been running real hard and gaining customers on a daily basis. And actually today marks 102 official cuts with the Cub Cadet. She's amazing. She's amazing. I love her. Now you're probably sitting here confused right now because I'm sitting here saying she's amazing, but yet you see her sitting here on jack stands. But don't worry, the jack stands are here for a reason, and I'll get to that. My review on this zero turn, I would have to say is 99% plus 2. Since the day I got her, she has showed me what she's about. She cuts good, and she can fine tune everything that you need to get that yard looking exactly the way you want it, with no issues, no headaches, no extra steps. Just a quick, push of the pedal, turn the knob, dial it in to the height that you want, and keep it rolling. She hasn't broken down on me. Well, she has broken down on me, but she hasn't broken down on me. And that's why I have the jack stands, because I want to show you guys some tips. I don't know if this will work for your zero turn or for your lawnmower, but these are just some tricks and tips that I learned since I've had her, that can get you back on your feet, within a matter of, maybe 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes, depending on your level of maintenance skills, I guess you could say. Like I said, no major issues. I've had 2 issues, minor issues, where I've had issues with both belts, the drive belt and the transmission belt, and both of those situations were fixed same day, no problems. Luckily, I had a little dash in the trailer to help me finish out the day to cut. It slowed me up a little bit, like I said, because he's small, but he still he handles his business, and left every customer satisfied with my work. So actually 3 issues, but the third one is not really an issue. It was just more so you learn as you go type of situation, and I'll get to that too. But as far as the lawnmower itself, she runs hard, she cuts amazing, she's ready to go every time I crank her up, no issues. We've already done an oil change on her, new oil filter, air filter, all of those good things. So she's ready to rock and roll for another 50 hours. So that's good. So let's start off with the first minor thing, which are the blades. So when I first started running this, I was just running, and after a while, you'll start noticing there's a lot of breakage in the cut pattern. You know, you can see a lot of stuff that was left over. You know, and it kind of shows you, you know, it's time to change the blades. So I said, okay, cool, no problem. So I went over to Tractor Supply and you know, picked up a new set of blades. I said, well, I'll go ahead and run the day out, and you know, I'll change the blades, you know, that evening. Well, that day came, I was burnt out. I'm like, well, I'll just change it first thing in the morning. You know, it doesn't take long to change blades out. Woke up that next morning, put her on the stand, dropped the old blades down. I went to put the new blade on, and it didn't work. And I'm sitting here like, what in the world is going on? I mean, it's a new blade. Like, everything should be, you know, everything should just, you know, in and out type of situation. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna show you why that didn't go the way it did. The reason why the blades that I bought didn't go on like it was supposed to is because the spindles that are on this lawnmower, this particular lawnmower, don't run the same spindle key, or doesn't have the same spindle key as the more modern blades. If for anybody that has a Cub Cadet zero turn, most of them, and what I've noticed from most of them on YouTube, shall I say, they all have a star key spindle. Well, with mine has an S. Kind of dirty, but 50-inch S pattern. So I had to go back to Tractor Supply, return those, just to find out that Tractor Supply, at the time when I went to return them, did not carry those blades, those particular blades. So I said, okay, that's fine. Let's go to Lowe's, because I know Lowe's carry Craftsman, you know, product. So I ran over to Lowe's, and they had those blades, but not for a 50-inch deck. They had, I think, the 46 or 48-inch, which was 2 blades, and then they had a 54-inch deck with 3 blades. Well, I'm running a 50-inch, so those didn't work. So then I said, okay, well, I know Home Depot runs, or they sell Cub Cadet product, so I went to Home Depot. Home Depot didn't have the blades that I needed either. So I got on the phone with my friend and let him know what was going on, and luckily that day he didn't have to work that day. So I ended up going on, you know, Google and everything, trying to find the nearest location that sold these particular blades that I needed, and the nearest place was an hour away from where I live. So he ran down, picked them up, came back with 2 sets, and while he was doing that, I had a little dash out in the field running, because hey, the business still got to run regardless, right? That's why it's always good to have backups. So got done running that day, came home, changed the blades out, no problem. So like I said, it wasn't a major issue. It was minor, but it could have put me down had this been my only lawnmower to cut. So for you guys who have a Cub Cadet, if you haven't changed your blades out yet, I would take 10 minutes out of your time and get up under your deck and see what kind of blades you run, as far as the inner part, whether it's a S pattern or a star pattern. Like I said, most of them are star patterns now, but I guess I was bamboozled out of this one. And the guy that I bought it from, well, that's another story. I won't get into that right now. So, like I said, that was the first minor issue. The second issue I ran into, I was in a customer's backyard, and all of a sudden, she just stopped moving. Deck was still running, PTO was still engaged, everything was running fine, but I wasn't getting no drive. So I shut it down, looked up underneath, and this is what happened. Take a look. My baby's down. My baby's down. So, as you can see, I don't know if you see that? Excuse me. The daggone belt done tore up and came off. And my spring. So now I'm sitting here in the backyard, and I'm just like, man, I still got half a yard to cut. She can't move. So I left her where she was at, went and got a little dash again. Brought him out, finished getting the yard done, and then put him back on the trailer. Well, actually, I got him back to the trailer at least. Went back to the yard, and I disconnected the transmissions, which I'll show you here in a bit how to do that if you don't know already. It's just these little handles. You just pull them, and it disengages the clutch in the transmissions, so you can manually roll the zero turn without tearing anything up. So I ended up doing that, pushing it all the way back up to the trailer. And the rest of that day, I ended up having to use a little dash, to handle the business. So after I got done, went to Tractor Supply, picked up a new belt, and brought it back, put her on the stands, and changed the belt out. Now, that's what I wanted to show you. These are the tools that you're gonna need. What we got here? We got a 13 millimeter, and if you can, pick the one up with a swivel, because it works better. Let's see if I can do this here. So, in order to change the transmission belt, which is going to be your top belt here, this is what drives your transmissions. In order to get this belt off and replaced, first things first, you're going to want to disconnect this plug, so you can just get a little flat tip and be very careful. Pluck that out and it'll pop right out. So you want to disconnect that plug, and then if you look, let's see if I can, trying to see if I can do this here. This, oh man, it might be kind of hard. Let's see. Okay, so it's gonna be this bolt right here, but it's actually behind here, and I'm trying to get it to where you can see it. There it is right there. This bolt right here. Here's the plug, and then here's this bracket. There's the outside, and then right here is the bolt. You're gonna take this 13 millimeter, stick it up here, take that bolt out. That's gonna allow this bracket to come loose. Once that's loose, then you're gonna want to get a 14mm wrench and a 14mm socket. It doesn't necessarily have to be a deep well, just a 14mm socket with an extension. And then you're gonna wanna come under here. Sorry about the camera, guys. Just trying to get situated here. This pulley right here, this is an idler pulley. You're gonna want to put the socket on there, and then on top, right above here, right above the pulley, there's a the bolt. You're gonna want to put that wrench, that 14mm wrench, on top of that, and you're gonna want to loosen that up, because this spring, you see this spring? That's the spring that popped off. I want to show you how it goes, because I didn't know how it went when it fell off, but I mean, common sense kind of tell you. So you see that little opening right there. You want to hook it there, and then the direction of that line, if you follow it, it'll take you to that hole. So it kind of lines straight up, so you can't really mess it up. Now, so what's gonna happen is, with that spring off, see, my spring fell off, so it was a little easier. But if you have to change it, for the sake of just changing the belt, that spring's gonna have to come off first, which, you know, grab some pliers, you know, peel it off, and you're fine. Now, the whole reason as to why you have to take this pulley off is because if you look at this little guide here, this belt is not going to this belt is not going to move or go anywhere without this pulley being dropped down, because this belt does not allow this, or this this guide does not allow this belt to come off this pulley at all. So in order for this belt to come off this pulley, it has to be removed. That's the whole reason why you have to remove the pulley. So since we're over here now and we're tinkering with stuff, I want to go ahead and show you the third minor issue that I had with her. So I got to a cleanup or recovery property actually, and I got done trimming the yard. I had everything set up. All I gotta do is just cut, right? I pull her out, I ride her over, set the deck, I pull the PTO, and nothing. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. Push the button in, pull it back out. Nothing. You can hear it clicking, but ain't nothing spinning. So I said, okay, before I get my panties in a bunch, let me assess the situation. So I shut it down, got up underneath, and I noticed that the drive belt was hanging off. So I said, okay, well, that ain't nothing but, you know, putting it back together, you know, getting it wrapped around everything, and we can get back to running. It's not that simple. Not that simple. So, well, before let me start, let me show you real quick. You're gonna need this. Just a nice flat tip, you know, like a pry bar size flat tip, or something that you can get in. And this spring right here, if you ever run into a situation where your drive belt pops off anywhere for some odd reason, all you gotta do, you're gonna have to disconnect this spring from this hook. And that ain't nothing but prying, you know, I'm not gonna take it off now because that's just too much work. But like I said, just pry this spring off around this hook here. Sorry about that. Camera acting funny. So like I said, pry the spring off. Once you take the spring off, it's gonna release tension on your belt. Then you'll be able to get your belt, you know, wrapped back around all the pulleys and line it up how you want to. Once everything is set, this is where this comes in handy. You're gonna take this spring, because it's gonna be way over here somewhere, because there's a lot of tension on this. You're just gonna hook this in, like, oh, Lord Jesus. You're gonna hook that in, and you're just gonna pry it. You're gonna pry it, and you're just gonna walk it to this hook. Once it gets far enough to where it can hook around, hook into it, pull it out, and you're done. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.